keeping us company,
What's that?
people keeping us company.
Go down to the bottom, circle on the bottom, go to the right. Nope, nope, down at the bottom. Yep, right there. And then click on there. There you go. All right. We're ready to start. Welcome, everyone, to the November 20th, 2023 Town Board meeting. I'm filling in for the supervisor. He's a little under the weather tonight. Bear with us as best you can. We appreciate it and hoping you all have a wonderful holiday that's coming up. But before we start, if you could please join us with the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Deputy Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilman Chase,
Here.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Here,
Councilwoman Corbin,
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Thank you. Quick, just a couple updates for our somewhat brief agenda for tonight. Under old business, we'll be adding a motion on point of dispensing site for part of our hazard mitigation plan through the county. And also, there had been some discussion about a tree committee being put on the agenda. It was not put on the agenda due to a lack of time and process. And I will talk about that more once we get down to our announcements from and reports. So with that being said, were there any other additions or changes from the board?
I would say there maybe is one announcement,
All right.
if I might.
Yep.
It's at the,
Oh, Sue's gonna be doing that.
okay, I won't preempt anybody else then, never mind.
Yeah, I see Sue Me on there, so she's
Okay.
ready.
Okay, all right.
Sue, do you want to give the announcement now? Sue Me? Maybe she wasn't ready for us.
Yeah, I'm ready. I just like to take this opportunity well, hold on a second. I just had a little glip. Sorry. Take this opportunity to invite everyone to our annual tree lighting event. It's scheduled for the Saturday, December 2nd at 6:30. Takes place at the gazebo behind the library. This is an event that started in 2017 as a kickoff event to launch our 2018 bicentennial year. And we've done it every year since then, other than 2020 due to the pandemic. We had to cancel that. This year, we will have the Roth School's Dedicated Voices Chorus leading us in caroling. And as usual, refreshments will follow in the Judicious Pavilion. So I hope that many of you will be able to attend, and I look forward to it. And hopefully we'll have winter weather, but not too cold and wintry. So just wanted to remind everyone, December 2nd, 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. And with that, we will open up for public comments. Remember the 3-minute rule. If you are on Zoom, please enter your name in the chat that you'd like to make a comment. If there's anyone present tonight, we have a microphone. Just please come up, give your name and your town of residence, and we will move along. Anyone here tonight like to speak?
Janet Block. I beg your pardon.
I don't think so. I don't see.
I don't know. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Oh, I see the light now.
Great. Janet Glocker, 791 Rush Henrietta Town Line Road. I'd like to thank the town for flying the Haudenosaunee flag for this month. This is the Indigenous Peoples Month, and at Indigenous Peoples Day, we had great attendance. The speaker was from Onondaga, and he spoke about the residential schools where children across the nation were forcibly removed from their families and put in schools run by the government with the sole purpose of trying to, quote, take the Indian out of the Indian and make him a man, close quote. So thank you to the town for flying the flag.
You can leave it on, Janet, that's all right. I see there is a red dot on the chat. Let's see who that might be, because I send it to you. Robin, would you unmute yourself, turn your video on, give your name and your town of residence, and remember the 3-minute rule, please.
Okay, hi, Robin Rapport, Town of Rush. And I've got 3 questions, which I hope will be documented with answers. The first is, I've looked all over the webpage for the 3-minute rule, and I cannot find where it originated or how it's been defined or who put it in place. Maybe someone could document that. I would appreciate it. I think the Town of Rush townspeople would also appreciate knowing where some of these rules come from. The second question is, old business includes an update to the amended lease for A Horse's Friend, which sounds very interesting, except there are 2 leases up there. They're both from September, and I have no idea. There's no indication as to which lease or if any of them are the appropriate lease to be talked about. It would be nice to have some sort of information beforehand so we can follow along. And the third question is, what is the process for intimidating people who sign documents in the Town of Rush? There seems to have been some intimidation going on, and I'd like to know how that was initiated and who's responsible and what is the reason for it. And those are my questions, and I'd appreciate documented answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Anyone else in person who would like to speak? And I don't see anyone else on Zoom. I don't have anyone in the chat feature, so we will move on then to the approval of minutes. The minutes that we have before us are for the regular town board meeting on November 8th, 2023. And what we typically will do is we will read the motion. There'll be a second, then we'll open it up for discussion if there is any. If not, then we will move forward with a vote. So is there anyone who'd like to read the motion to adopt? Dan, thank you.
I so move to approve town board minutes of November 8th, 2023 as submitted by Town Clerk Busey. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a comment about that. The minutes, so I read them. And there is a rather in-depth comment here, I guess, in the minutes regarding a resident who made some lengthy comments about A Horse's Friend. And I would just like to say that while the minutes more or less capture what the speaker said, a simple statement to the effect that so-and-so objects to the town's lease with A Horse's Friend would have sufficed, in my opinion. Someone making a statement here or anywhere doesn't necessarily mean that what is said represents the truth. And having it memorialized word for word or thereabouts could lead someone reading this thinking that there was truth in the statement. I mean, I could talk about and say the world is flat. And if you were to record that, don't record that. And someone would possibly believe some ridiculous fiction. You know what I'm saying? You don't, it's enough said. I'll have more to say when we get down to old business.
I'd like to add a change to the minutes, and that is what was written. When I went back and looked at the YouTube and listened to the YouTube, it was not accurate. The minutes state resident Jim Wilkins, president for the Rush Seniors, applauded the town board. He wanted to thank Mary Ann Rizzo and resident Lee Hankins for a program, bringing the senior program back together with the town of Rush. When I went in and I didn't remember it that way, so I went back and listened to the audio. And Jim Wilkins says, president of the Rush Seniors, I wanted to thank Jerry and the town board for getting their program back together for travel. He also wanted to thank Mary Ann Rizzo and Lee Hankins. He had some conversations with them about a program they might be able to do for them. I did not interpret that to mean it was the senior program that we did, because there was no discussion with anyone outside of the town board. So I would like that amended, if at all possible. If not, I would not be able to give my approval for the minutes.
That's the way I remember it as well. The way
So-
you described it.
Yeah, that's
Well-
how I remember it.
Okay. So is there any other changes,
Mm,
edits?
That's
So
it.
I will then make a new motion to approve the amended minutes as stated by myself. And was there something specific you want to change?
I don't know whether I have the authority to say that. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not recorded more or less accurately. I just don't see the need for all of it. My opinion.
And we do have an adopted town board minutes policy that maybe next board meeting at the workshop, we can bring that up again and refresh ourselves with that.
That would be good.
So, is there a second for the amended minutes?
Yeah, is the amendment just including that?
The
then?
Jim Wilkins part,
Yeah,
Okay,
if you're all right with that?
sure.
I'll second it.
Second that.
Daniel, second that. Roll call, please.
Councilperson Corbin,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
aye.
Councilperson Williver.
We'll move on to the approval of the abstract. Councilperson Williver got to do it 2 meetings in a row. So Dan, if you could share with what you did.
I move, having reviewed all vouchers of abstract 11-2 of November 20th, 2023, authorizing the payment of totaling $30,411.41, which includes Fund AA General for $18,740.94, DA Highway for $6,642.72, and LL Library for $4,997.75. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilperson Corbin,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase.
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
Aye.
Councilperson Williver.
Aye.
We'll move on to reports from town board members, town deputy clerk and town attorney. So I'll start alphabetically. Councilman Chase, anything to share with the board?
Nothing to report.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Nothing to report.
Councilperson Williver,
I attended the Conservation Board meeting and met the new supervisor secretary.
it was a good meeting. Deputy town clerk or Baker, anything to share?
We have received a resignation from John Morelli as the planning board and facilitator for the comprehensive plan effective November 2nd, 2023. October month end town clerk report was submitted to the supervisor for revenue in the amount of $7,556.25. State checks amounting to $658.42 were submitted and mostly attributed to Hunter license sales. Received revenue and expense statement of activity, New York class summary states class statement, and from the supervisor for October 2023. and received end of month finance report for October and November month end updates.
Thank you. Town attorney.
Nothing to report.
All right, I will follow up with my own report. I attended also the Conservation Board meeting on November 9th. I attended the ZBA monthly meeting where no applications were heard, but the Code Committee Chairman Scott Strock did an update for the Zoning Board of Appeals on what they've been working on. Our town historians already shared about the tree lighting on December 2nd. And I'd like to comment for the supervisor and myself on the tree committee that we had, as a board, gotten a request to put that on the agenda. And I'd like the public to know why it's not on the agenda and our local law that we adopted so that it can be handled in the future. So we passed a local law a number of months ago, and there is a section 104-5. And that section is Tree Advisory Committee. And it says letter A, formation and membership. 1, the tree committee shall consist of no fewer than 5 or more, no fewer than 5, no more than 7 persons who are knowledgeable about trees and shall have served without compensation. If possible, 1 seat on the tree committee shall be held by a professional in tree care, a forest or forestry. Members of the tree committee should be Rush residents. The tree care professional may or may not be a Rush resident. Applications to serve on the tree committee shall be submitted to the Rush Town Board. The Rush Conservation Board and the Rush Recreation and Parks Association, Rush RPA, shall have an opportunity to review the applications and submit their recommendations prior to the town board's action to appoint members to the committee. Vacancies shall be filled in the same fashion by the town board. So when the supervisor was approached to add this to the agenda for tonight, our job as a town board is to follow our local law. And our local law points out that it has to go to the Conservation Board first. They will not be meeting until December. And we then can make interviews and make selections to appoint. But we also have not advertised for this committee. And it's this time of year typically where those type of things happen. I know on the town website currently, zoning board, planning board, and conservation is always up there. Tree committee has not been put up there. So we need to get it up there. And I'm gonna ask you, where else, how else can we advertise for letters of interest for not just the tree committee, but for the other boards? Well, I saw the town of Henrietta has a Facebook page. We've decided not to go that route. And they currently have an ad up on their Facebook page. I know we've got the Rush community page.
Right, I was wondering about that, but are we, I mean,
We don't
is
have a
that
Facebook page.
right, is it appropriate to put that on there as a town board? I don't know.
I don't know.
Just an announcement.
David,
You can do that if you want.
We can.
Yeah.
what if we don't have a Facebook town page though? Could someone write something and put it up on behalf of the town? I'm not sure.
You could, there's nothing that specifically prevents that, but it's typically the town website, the official website. Newsletters or other types of commonly circulated ways to communicate.
So what's your input, everyone?
I think put on that Rush community page. I think from what I see, people chime in on there,
Mhm.
and at least it's another outlet, in addition, you could drive that, whatever you say, to the town website for more information,
Mhm.
right?
What is your opinion of the penny saver? I know I have my opinion of the penny saver, but I'm just with
Yeah.
both.
I like the penny saver.
You do like the
I-
penny?
I-
saver? No, that's okay if you like the penny saver.
If there's anything I get a chance to look at, it's about it.
I scan it.
Would we like to make a motion to have the town clerk put an ad for all the boards plus the tree committee? In
Yeah,
the penny
Yeah,
saver?
yeah, put it all together. We need people.
Okay, so can I just say so moved?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Thanks, Valerie. Oh, that's right, we gotta vote on that.
Councilperson Corbin,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase.
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
Aye.
Councilperson Oliver.
Aye.
All right, we're moving on to old business. With the supervisor not here tonight, he is the one that has the information on the Monroe County Fair Association update. I hate to table it one more time, but he has the information. I do not have it to share with you. Is there anything anyone wants to share?
Going on this long, we can wait another couple weeks.
Okay. All right, under old business, update on the amended lease with a horse's friend. At the last town board meeting, we as a board unanimously voted to enter into an amended lease again with a horse's friend. And I think it's very important that we as a board share the facts as we know it for the public, so it does get memorialized in the minutes. And people, as we heard in the public comment period, do have questions on that. So is there anyone who has anything they'd like to share? I can either go first, second, third, or fourth.
I have comments that I worked on,
Okay,
but I could go in any order that you want.
I will turn it right to you.
Okay.
If I'm repeating anything, I'll still repeat it.
Okay, so I put my thoughts down because a lot of things get circulated. But contrary to rumors being circulated, A Horse's Friend is not a commercial enterprise. A Horse's Friend was incorporated in New York State as a not-for-profit corporation and is exempt from federal income taxes under Internal Revenue Code Section 501(c)(3). Its mission is to provide urban and underserved youth exposure to the world of horses. Funding comes from many different sources, including grants, private donations, payments from agencies associated with urban or underserved youth, adult and youth program registration fees, trail rides, and the boarding of several horses. As a nonprofit organization, annual revenues are generated to cover annual operating expenses, unlike a commercial horse farm operation, which is in business to generate profits from its boarding and training services. A Horse's Friend has one employee, and all services and farm maintenance activities are performed by its one employee and many volunteers. A Horse's Friend doesn't turn away any urban or underserved youth who may not be able to pay the initial program registration fee. Scholarships and gift certificates are often offered to kids who want to participate in the youth horsemanship program, but are unable to cover the cost. Grants, donations, and boarding fees are used to cover operational expenses of the program, as registration fees do not cover all expenses. The youth horsemanship program at A Horse's Friend is designed to teach kids everything about horses. It's not just a commercial riding program. The educational aspects of the program include learning about the parts of the saddle, bridle, and horse so that they can identify safety issues with tack and health issues with the horses. They learn how to prepare the horse's feed and how a horse's diet may need to be adjusted based on the needs of the horse. They have opportunities to watch farriers, trim, and shod horses, and veterinarians perform vet checks, which gives them educational learning experiences and exposure to future job opportunities. They learn about how to clean stalls and maintain pastures for the health of the horses. And most of all, they learn how to communicate with horses and other kids to be an effective horseman. In the calendar year 2023, A Horse's Friend provided services to the Rochester City School District, the Villa of Hope, and Compass, Keeping Our Promise, in addition to many other town recreation departments and area school districts. This board sought out legal counsel before entering into any agreement and has determined that the activities that are taking place do not violate the terms of the deed or any restrictions in the deed. My statement.
Thank you. Dan,
Very well said.
Thank you.
I concur.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dan,
No, I agree. Just, I do have a couple things. Just one thing, I guess I want to say, I think moving forward with this. I agree that when we are looking over the invoices that are being applied against our chance of gaining rent, I think we need to look at it. Is this something that is benefiting the town buildings and a horse's friend? Or is just something that is just benefiting a horse's friend? And I think we need to draw a line there and say, if it's just benefiting a horse's friend, then that's something that we should not be crediting.
I
their rent with.
agree with that, and I believe there is a requirement that any major expenses get approval
Yes.
up front. So if we
Yes.
don't like, or we don't want a certain thing, we
Yeah.
don't think it's worth it, or
And even
should be
some,
applied.
even if it's something that he got donations to do. I think the town board should have approval of that, even if it's not going against our
Good
lease. I still think that we need to know what's going on and approve those
any kind of permanent additions or,
or improvements, large
Improvements.
improvements.
right?
I had a question. I drove by and I saw that there was a Todd Fritz sign in front of there.
that was the run-in shed roof we had approved.
Okay. Okay.
That
I
has-
remembered
that has
looking,
been
I
completed.
remembered looking at the quotes. I don't remember picking a contractor for that. Maybe I wasn't there, but I don't ever remember.
We
approving a
did.
contractor. Okay,
And their major improvement list that they had submitted 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They have now completed.
Okay.
So the next board that will be sitting here, that will be a whole new process for
Yeah.
you.
that was just a couple
Well,
comments I
no,
had.
no, I'm glad you did. It was good to bring it up. Absolutely. I'm gonna piggyback on just because I rewrote mine, so. The town of Rush is following the deed restrictions as set forth in the deed for the property and has been explained to us by the previous town attorney who sat here before Dan and Jean were here, and by our current town attorney. That is a fact. The town's previous town attorney, reviewed the use of the property by a horse's friend all the way back into 2020 and found there was not an issue with the deed and a horse's friend use of the property at White Springs Farm. Again, back to 2020. That's a fact. There was a different deputy supervisor that worked through that. The town's current attorney has reviewed what the previous town attorney did and then did their own due diligence and again shared with this board that a horse's friend lease on White Springs Farm isn't allowed use per the deed. That's fact. There was existing fencing on the property going back decades when it was BOCES and even before then. Any new fencing that has been put up has gotten a permit from our building inspector under the current town code. That is a fact. No new land was added to the amended lease. Again, that is a fact. I had a wonderful phone call with someone today who was asking those similar questions. They were, I actually sent them a copy of the deed so they could have it in front of them. So I again encourage anyone, whether you have questions, concerns, would like to talk to any of us, please call us, email us, reach out to any of us or the recreations supervisor, Pat Stevens. She is the supervisor over there for answers to your questions or concerns because we have the facts. Again, this town board and previous town boards followed, and we continue to follow the legal process as outlined by our town attorney. So go enjoy this property at the town of Rush White Springs Farm. Visit the New York Museum of Transportation. I'm not sure how much longer they're open for the season. Visit a horse's friend, walk the trails, and enjoy the beautiful property. And if you get a chance, walk under the railroad bed to the 100 Acres Nature Park and enjoy that wonderful piece of property as well. All right.
Very good.
Yeah, well said.
All right, moving on to number 3 under old business. Proposed resolution for adopting the Monroe County Hazard Mitigation Plan 2023. We as a board sat here when that was brought up to us a number of months ago, and we asked for the plan. I don't think we got the plan, but we now have the plan because Monroe County is knocking on the door saying, we need your plan. We need that information. So if you've had a chance to look it over, Doug, our code enforcement officer that put this together, is on Zoom. I believe you saw him. Do you have any questions for Doug?
So that was given to us a while back. I can't remember exactly. You referenced it. And I started looking at it then and then we got, oh, never mind, and pull it back. Don't do that now. Like, okay. So I put it aside.
We all did.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of other things to think about. So when it came, when you shared it with us again, so I thought I should at least go through that and see what's in there. And there's a couple of things to me, or a couple of little, inconsistencies or things that I just want to clarify.
Let's get Doug on, since he will know the answers. Doug, can you unmute yourself? There
Good
he is.
evening. Good evening.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, Doug.
Hi.
So page 1 of that plan refers to the responsible people. And I realize that it is true today, and it was true probably when this was written, but we're getting to the end of Jerry Kusi's term, and this is just getting adopted, and we probably should put Dan in there as being a responsible person as the supervisor. Aren't you happy?
Good job, Jean.
It was just a thought,
Yeah.
and I'm putting this guy on the spot, but it just a
I can
thought
clear-
as it mentions Supervisor Kusi as being one of the responsible people along with you, Doug. And you can think about all these things. I don't know what it means. Page 2 goes into all of these points and the various jurisdictions that I guess are responsible. But because of the way some things were answered, I was curious as to what jurisdiction are we referring to? Are we referring to the town of Rush, or are we referring to Monroe County?
Only the town of Rush, Gene.
Town of Rush. Okay, so then I think there's a couple of little corrections then. On page 4, there's a section there that refers to the comprehensive plan. And the narrative in that section refers to a 2017 comprehensive plan. The town has never had a 2017 comprehensive plan. We do have a new one, as you know, just finished. I got it right here. Which is adopted in 2023. So if that correction could be,
That's easily done. Yes,
I'm sorry?
easily done. No problem with
Yeah,
that.
okay, thank you. The report also refers to, we reply in the affirmative that we have a capital improvement plan. Do we? Do we?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, we should, I would like to be, and and this guy here knows, DJ, we know we need to add in the town highway department buildings to a capital improvement plan, as Dan took those great photos and shocked us all.
Let me ask DJ, quick, DJ, don't you have on your lines a capital improvement in the highway department? Just equipment, okay.
Because the buildings, I think, come under the town, isn't that
town,
right? That
right.
was,
Yes.
and the equipment is,
Basically, in the end, I mean, the highway department kind of technically leases the property from Rush. I mean, you know, yes, the highway department owns the equipment and that stuff. The buildings all fall to the town of Rush. As a whole.
Okay.
So I think that's something, you know, next year would be a good thing to
We need to.
have work on and go and take an inventory and see what we need to improve.
And our finance officer
Yeah.
has said that we should.
Yeah.
do-
We should be doing that.
Right.
Okay, so that was an observation. And on page 6, there's a narrative that talks about special permits, or it says special use permits, but I don't think we have that anymore. Is that correct?
No.
We have special permits, but not special use permits. So if that could be corrected. And then, finally, my comments on page 12, it refers to the Rush Reserve, and that is now White Springs Farm. So there were, I tried to read and those things caught my attention, but I don't know what else there might have been. So I think maybe one more quick look through all of those points and make sure, because I'm not saying I got it all, but those things came to my attention when I went through it.
Doug, the county knocking on our door to get this to them.
Before the end of the year, yes.
So can we have until our next, well, we could do it at our workshop on December 4th
Right, yeah, and if we only need it by the end of the year.
or the
Okay.
13th.
Right.
Can we have a few more weeks just to do what Jean shared with us?
I will correct those points that Jean mentioned, and if you want me to resend it to everybody, I can do that.
Let me ask David, can we pass, if the board, only if you feel comfortable, pass a resolution with those changes subject to your review? Or is it better to wait until he makes those changes and we look at it again?
I think you're probably better off letting Doug or John make those changes and then reviewing it for your own comfort.
Okay,
Because, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have the most input on that.
all right. So Doug, we are going to get that to us as soon as you can.
Okay,
And we will put it on the next agenda.
very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Doug, don't go anywhere. Do you need us to hold off on the Mendon, whatever it was called?
That's a separate total issue, so
Okay.
if you could see passing that.
All right. So the item that I added, number 4 under old business, as I stated at the beginning, was there was a separate document that our code enforcement officer shared with us. And it is from the Monroe County Department of Public Health. And Doug, I'm going to once again ask you if you could let the public know what this is, because you are better versed at it than the 4 of us sitting up here.
Probably more than a year and a half ago, I wasn't on board, but you probably, maybe the last group of people before you signed this exact same thing. Maybe a couple of things have changed, but the new agreement is between the communities, and it is using the school site as the point of distribution, i.e. the word pod. So that's all the county is asking for, is that we agree to that, to participate with the other 2 communities and use the school in the event that there was a major need for a distribution of some type of medicine. That's basically all it is.
And that school is the Honeoye Falls Lima High School in Honeoye Falls.
Correct.
All right. Are we comfortable with that? I do have a draft motion I could read. And you
Yeah.
can tell me if you think it sounds
That's-
acceptable or not.
That's fine.
I so move to authorize the supervisor to sign the letter dated November 13th, 2023 from the Commissioner of Public Health, Monroe County Department of Public Health, representing the town of Rush's acceptance and approval of the village of Honeoye Falls, town of Mendon, and town of Rush's medical countermeasure plan using the Honeoye Falls Lima High School at 83 East Street, Honeoye Falls, New York, 14472 as a pre-designated point of dispensing site. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Did you pull the board?
Councilperson Corbin,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
Aye.
Councilperson Wolliver.
Thank you, Doug. We'll get this signed and back to you.
Thank you all for your hard work. I appreciate it.
Under new business, proposed resolution for the surety bonding for town officers. And this was given to us by the town clerk. That this is something that is required for my understanding, the collection of taxes. Is there anything you can share with us, Valerie, that I didn't share well enough?
I believe that's the main thing, but it also covers for any type of cemetery collection from here.
And I can just share for those of you who are here and on Zoom. None of us can collect money. So if we happen to be here helping out, doing something comes in to pay their taxes or their dog license, we can't touch any of that money. Only certain people, the town clerk, the deputy town clerk, the assessor's clerk, and the budget officer are under this surety bond. So if there's someone who would like to read this, I would appreciate it.
I will.
Thanks, Dan.
I move the town board of the town of Rush hereby approves the surety bond from the amount of the official undertaking for the faithful performance of the duties of town clerk, tax collector, deputy town clerk, assessor's clerk, and budget officer as filed in the town clerk's office. Type of undertaking, a public official liability, employee dishonesty insurance, insurance company amount, the amount of $25,000 or $250,000 for the town clerk, tax collector, $250,000 for the deputy town clerk, $250,000 for the assessor's clerk, and $125,000 for the budget officer. Do I have a second?
Second,
I'll second it.
thanks, Jean.
Councilperson Corbin,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
Aye.
Councilperson Wolliver.
And the last thing on our agenda tonight is our next town board workshop is December 4th. Our next town board meeting is not till December 13th. And with the resignation of John Morelli, we do have a pool in the town clerk's office of letters of interest. And that's what we did similarly with the zoning board. And it would be to fulfill, I think there's 1 year left on that appointment. And
1 year,
have,
one or two, I don't know.
I
Is it,
I think there's one.
I couldn't remember. I know that there was,
Mac's
when we
up
filled
this
it,
year.
yeah, Mac was a 1 year, and I couldn't remember if
2
John,
and
I think
5.
John was a
we
little
have to look
longer. but I
that
Yeah.
up.
couldn't
Okay.
remember exactly how long.
And in working with the supervisor secretary on zoning board and planning board. I can't believe how many applications she has on her desk right now for December coming up. And to get someone on as soon as possible so they can attend that meeting. So if there's discussion, if you're in agreement,
I know
Jer-
they're busy.
Jerry and I talked about setting up the interviews for the town board workshop. We could go into executive session and interview the pool of letters that we've already interviewed once, but we want to interview them if they're still interested.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable to everyone?
Sure.
All right, so we will
Sounds
set
good.
that up with the secretary.
So you're gonna reach out to the people and see if they're still interested? Is
Yep.
that what you're gonna do?
We'll have Jerry's
That works.
secretary as well as the town clerk and deputy put that pool together and we'll set those interviews up for December 4th.
Sounds good.
And with nothing more, DJ, was there anything? You're
What-
here for
what-
some reason.
I just,
Okay.
I enjoy it. With the hazard mitigation thing jumping back, does that, any of that involve the highway department?
Doug, are you still on? Doug?
Yes, I'm still on. That's
DJ,
so
he
funny
might not
you-
be able to hear you. Can you hand DJ the microphone? He loves to talk in the microphone.
Does any of the hazard mitigation stuff fall on the highway department at all?
Yes, that would enable us, once the plan is passed, it allows us to ask for money or apply for money for different things And the supervisor and I both wrote down the generator and a couple of other things which you and I have talked about at the highway department. So that's high on our priority. One of the other high priority items would be some type of a communication avenue in the town, because we know what happens when disasters hit. We lose cell phones. And so we need something to be able to communicate within the town. And that's another high priority on our list.
But is it gonna require us to perform any sort of services or anything for this situation that you're, what is going on in the need of a hazard or that kind of emergency?
I'm not sure, DJ, what you mean by we perform services. Give me an example if you wouldn't mind.
I mean, a hazard is a hazard, whether, it be, road closures or,
Oh,
power outages or, the road's not, potentially being open due to a severe storm or, is that part of this?
yes, it is. Yep. So
Doug, could you send the plan to DJ's email so he can
Sure.
look it over since we have now some time? DJ, is that acceptable?
Yeah, that's fine. I was just, kind of,
Yeah,
I had,
absolutely.
other than talking about the generator and stuff and, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just wondering what falls back on the highway department as, being the highway superintendent now. So,
Thank you, Doug.
you're welcome.
Good question, DJ. Glad you
Yep.
were here. All right, anything else? With no further business, before we close, enjoy your holiday, enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family, whether you're near, whether you're far, travel safely. And enjoy the time you have together with people. So I will ask for an adjournment. Is that the right way? What did we do?
You make a motion.
All in favor
All in
of
favor?
adjourning?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We will close everything out.